Hi guys, I hope you're good since last video. So in this video we're going to be focusing on errors. So how to handle errors. We've seen it in some of the previous videos, but just here we're going to be just talking about that, having the first part being an explanation of different ways for user-facing applications and also for developers to make it easy. In the second part, we will be going to the terminal and using the code just to show how it is. Please like and subscribe, and let's get started. Error management. So we're going to see different ways of handling the errors. Here we're going to be talking about the question mark. So using question mark for error propagation, the question mark operator is a common and safe way to propagate errors without writing a lot of boilerplate code. It is especially useful when working with functions that return a result or an option. So result or option, you can use the question mark. So how does it work? The question mark operator automatically propagates error to the calling function if the value is error or none, because result can return errors and option can return none. If the operation is successful, OK or sum, so same here, result can return OK instead of error, and option can return some value instead of none. So it just continues when the outcome is positive. So here in the little example that we have here, we're trying to read the file content using a function and passing in a path, which is a reference of str. We return a result. Here I'm just going to use the arrow. In the result we have the OK will be the string, and the error, standard error. This is just the normal standard error. And after we defined variable, we use the library, the file system library, to read what is in the file at that path. And after here, we put the question mark at the end. So this is kind of lazy, and here is going to be evaluated. So here this is going to be evaluated here when it's going to be called. And here content, if the content is a string, it's going to be OK and keep going, otherwise it's going to return the error. So if the read to string fails, the question mark will return the error to the caller. If it succeeds, it will proceed with the content. Safety and pros, less boilerplate, because it's just a question mark, so it reduces the need for verbose match statement for handling errors. That's the one that we've seen before, match. And also early exit if an error occurs, so the function exits early, which is often desirable. Idiomatically, in Rust, the question mark operator is the preferred way of handling and propagating errors in most situations, because it makes the code cleaner and more readable. It's just a question mark also. It's very easy, just one character. And the cons, it needs compatible return types. So you see the return types have to be result or option. So the function must have compatible return types like result or option to use the question mark. This makes sense, but sometimes requires structuring functions to handle propagation correctly. So let's go to the next one. The next one is using match. That's the one we've seen indirectly. For example, while using enums, we use match. We explained it a bit. So using match for error handling, you can also use match to handle errors explicitly. This approach gives you full control over how you handle success and failures. Here in the example, we use the same example, the same function. We're going to be trying to read a file. We're going to pass in a path, which is a reference to an str. The result is going to return a string, which is the OK side, or an error. So we're going to match. We want to match that. So if we can read it at this pass, this is just a placeholder. You can put anything here. If it is written, content is more explicit, so it's easy to understand. Content OK, OK content. So it's going to return that content. While the error here is going to be returning the error. Or you have more control, because here you can put whatever you want. Here also. So you can have another function here, for example, to have a logic depending on the outcome. So here the pros explicitly returns explicit control. You can customize how each case is handled. For example, you can log an error or handle it differently depending on the context. Different behaviors. You can choose different behaviors for different types of errors or provide fallback mechanism. So instead of crashing the app, you can just gently go to another logic. And the cons here, the verbose. So here is not just a question mark, there's more code to write. So using match for every possible error case can lead to boilerplate code, especially in functions that call multiple operations that can fail, is less readable. So in many cases, match adds, it's less readable because there's more code to write compared to a question mark. And here we're going to go to the third way of doing it, using the already present function unwrap. So you don't need to import anything. Just put it at the end of your statement. The .unwrap method extracts the value inside an option or a result and panics if the value is none or error. So here it's going to be panicking. We've seen panic once in the enum. We used the panic macro. This is fine for prototyping or testing, but is generally discouraged in production because it crashes the program if an error occurs. So this is the one that you use when you are a developer, you're working on your app, and you don't need to send it to. It's not an app going to production. It's just a testing app. But it's better to not use it actually. So that's why since the beginning I haven't used it at all. And in this example, less content equal. We use the same here. We're trying to match this file system read string. And where is my arrow? Here, read to string, the path, and we just use a .unwrap method. So here it panics if there is any error. If there's nothing to read, whatever error happens, it's gonna panic. So the pros is pretty quick and easy. It's like the question mark. Simple to use when you are confident that the value will always be valid. Great for prototyping. So .unwrap is helpful in testing or prototyping to quickly get something working. But the cons, risk of panicking. So in production, if there is an unexpected error, .unwrap will crash your app. Not idiomatic for robust code, so it's better to handle error gracefully and propagate them appropriately, especially in user-facing applications or critical systems. So it's better to have full control instead of crashing your app. So the best practices in production code is preferred to use question mark for error propagation and the match for more control. Okay, so we're done with this. Let's go to the terminal. Okay, so that's what we did before. Let's now create a new file. So we're going to call it error handling. Handling.rs. Let's use the example that we have viewed earlier and extend it a bit. So we are going to start by importing the file system reader. FS. After that, we need the error. So this error is implementing the debug, but not the display. We're going to create a struct. So now from the beginning I can put it public. So we're going to call this struct secret folder, has a secret file, has a field, which is a type of string. So we don't need here to put secret file as a public, but I'm going to do it. Put it as a public. We need an implementation. Implement secret folder. And here we're going to put our functions. So the first way, using question mark. So we're trying to handle errors. And the first way is the error propagation, which is the question mark. We're going to call the function question mark. If we omit the reference to the struct, so %self, those methods are not going to be discovered. I mean the struct. The method is going to be found, but not the struct. So here we're going to use the path, which is a str reference, and we're going to return a result. So the result has two returns possibilities, an error or a validation. Okay, so here it's a string, type of string, the error, just going to comment it. From standard IO error, because there's different errors from different libraries, implements debug. After here, we're going to create a variable, let secret story equal, we're going to read a file from the file system, fs read to string, and we're going to use the path. We put here the question mark to propagate the error while we're evaluating here with OK. Secret story. So we're doing that because result is returning OK, or we put this, format it well, or an error. Here, OK is an string. So we have a question mark. So I think we're fine with this first way, using the question mark. Now we can close those comments. We're going to define them all first. And after, we're going to use the public function to play with it in an easy way, understandable way. So the second way, match. And the function, we're going to call it another secret. Could have called it match, but let's use another secret. Reference the structure, and we use the path. So the first line is going to be the same. So here in this video, we're focusing on error handling. We're viewing those three different ways. But if you go into the documentation, you're going to see that there is more methods, and you can dig it a little bit further. Here we're going to stick to those three different ways. It's just also to show that while you're developing your app, you can use it in a certain way. But if you want to use it for production code, at this time it's better to handle your errors in the right way, so you don't show any debug logs to the user. So here we're using the match. We're matching on the file system read to string. So we're reading the string, we're reading what is inside the file. And after here, we're returning OK or error. The super secret. I write it like that so you understand that it's just a placeholder. So you put whatever you want inside, and the error is going to return an error. That's for the second way. We can close this comment. The third way. So here in the third way, we are using unwrap. Just for devs, prototyping, so not for production. Because unwrap, it's gonna panic. There's an error. Panic means it's just gonna crash the app. We define the function. We call it dev error, like dev error. And after the rest is the same. We use the reference to the struct, the reference to the path. We return the result string or an error. So the error here has been imported on the top of the file from the standard library IO. And after here we're going to define a variable dev mistake is equal to the content of the file. So let's put a dev mistakes check. So let's format a string, but we don't need actually we just pass the path that we had here, and we use the dot unwrap on it. So instead of a question mark here, we just use the unwrap. After here, we're going to return the variable. So for the moment, I'm going to return it this way. Whichever error we get on the compiler, we're going to read it, come back to the code and fix it. Because it's very important to see those errors actually, because they're the most common ones. We close the comments. So here we can put public for that, but we can also omit it because we don't use it in the other file. But the struct need to be public. The fields is not an obligation. So here, should I create a public function? Maybe not. Maybe not. So in the previous video, we've seen the implementation of display on the struct. So here I'm just going to reuse it as a reminder. We created a custom struct, doesn't have any display implemented. So as in the previous video, I'm just going to implement it here to this struct. So you can print it using your custom way instead of using the debug way. And we will need here to use the formatter. So we need to import, so here I'm missing colons, standard, library, formatter, we need display. So we implement display for secret folder struct. And the function fmt. So this implementation comes from the documentation. So you're going to find it with the same syntax in the documentation. So we use the reference to the struct. We use a mutable reference of the formatter of the buffer. So here I'm just going to use it like that. fmt display, I get rid of display here. Because we have the fmt formatter, the result one. So fmt also has a way to return errors. So you can import error from fmt also. Using the right macro to write just a sentence like that. It's like a warning, but it's not an error actually, because this is just going to write what we have created as a formatting. So we want access to the field that we have defined in the struct, which is secret file. Maybe at the end of the video I'm going to show you that we can print it while I'm playing with the code. But here we're going to focus in those three methods. So after that, it's up to you to play with it and try different ways, different methods on it. Make some mistakes, see what the compiler says about what you did. So let's create a public function that we're going to use in the main.rs. Public fn, so many errors, which is going to return a result. We keep it simple. We're going to return the same as the method implemented to the struct. Result string or error. Let's have some more space here. Put the code in the middle of the screen. And here we're going to start. So let's instantiate those structs. So we're going to do 3 of those. So let secret underscore in folder 1, in file 1 maybe. Now we're gonna define the field, secret folder. We put all the logic here, but we could have used the so many error function and added a parameter and use that parameter at the main.rs level. But here we're going to do everything in this function. Just print it in the other side. So the file secret file is a string. That's why we use the method toString. So those file paths, it's going to be hard-coded, and we're going to be testing each of those instantiation of the struct using each of the implementation that we've done before. So they're basically going to be the same. I'm just going to change the name with 1, 2, 3. Maybe the file path also. So this one is 2. This one is still secret. Maybe we can call it second. And let's create the third one. Let's change the name a bit. Let's call it dev, maybe. Dev secret. And here, file 3. So we're good with those instantiations. So what are we going to do next? Now we need to return something. So we create a variable to return it. So it's a variable of type result, string, or error. So string error. Either of these two, that's what it's going to return. Let's call it error or not. And here we're going to play a little bit with it. We're going to use secret in file 1, the struct. We're going to call the implementation question mark. And now we need to pass in the path, which is the reference. And I'm going to be using the dot notation, secret in file, say folder. Here we access to secret file. We don't forget the semicolon, and we're going to return error or not. Let's close the comments. And we're going to create those files after. I'm just going to comment out two of those options to keep the one that we're focusing in at the moment. So we're going to use this one here, and we're going to call a question mark on it. Question mark. The one that we have implemented here on the top, implemented to the struct secret folder. So same here, I'm going to comment this out as we're focusing on question mark. So the compiler is not going to show all those warnings. It's going to be showing us only errors that we have made in the code. We're going to come back, fix those errors. Get used to see errors on the terminal and to come to your code base to fix it. So here we use the reference. So the ampersand and here secret file. Is a string. Okay, just go over it. It's gonna take this path of the first secret. We're gonna build those files. Let's make the directory files. And let's touch those ones. First secret. Second. And the dev secret. So we have those three files. Now they exist, but they're all empty. No content. So we're focusing here on the first secret. We're going to be adding a message in it. So we're working on the errors. That's what we're handling here in this video. But before seeing any error, let's print something that works. So the OK side of the result, not the error side. So paper and pen in front of a GR station. I'm just gonna add a .txt to those file names. Okay, and one more. I might need to change this in the code also. I wrote this. Okay. I will not forget. And here dev. Okay. We clear this. Cat error. Yes, I didn't put .txt inside. I'm gonna add .txt to all of those. TXT, even though one commented that you can't see. This is done. Okay. Shall we play with the compiler? But before that, we need to go in the main.rs, import the module. So mod error handling, that's the name. We're going to use a print statement here. The print macro. We use our curly braces. Okay, and the function. So from error handling, we have a function which is called so many errors. Very easy to remember. And there's no parameter to pass in. We go here and let's see cargo. Let's run it. We have so many errors, syntax and everything. So, what do we have? I forgot a semicolon here. I mean colon. It's a double colon. Could you spot those errors while I was writing? Some were intentional, but this one wasn't intentional. This one also wasn't intentional, expected. One of 9 possible tokens. So here, as you can see, the formatter is missing the parameter. I've defined the type, but not the parameter. See, it says anonymous parameter are moved. So here there's no parameter. It's suggesting me to put an underscore, but we're not going to put underscore. I need also a semicolon when I have instantiated the struct by defining a variable. So here instead of underscore we need a F. Okay. Cannot find the value secret in folder. In this scope, that's normal. You won't find anything. There's so many errors. A local variable with similar name exists. Secret in file 1. So here also, I wrote secret in folder, that secret file. This one was intentional. So not implemented. So display is not implemented. So the standard library IO error is implementing debug but not display. So we need to print using semicolon. Using colon question mark. That we will be doing that in the main.rs. So for the moment, let's fix all those errors. Here we have a double colon. This error is fixed. Here everything was fine here. Next, here we need F, the parameter. Okay, F should be here also. So we got our buffer parameter F, secret in file. Let's put the semicolons. Another one here. That's good. So semicolon, we need it because it's a let variable. And after we had another one here. Let's go back here, secret in, this one is okay, but here is not folder. It is file 1. we're good with this one. We have fixed all the errors. Let's go to the main.rs, and here we need to put something in the curly braces. Why? Because io.error implements debug but not display. Okay. Just gonna write it here. Standard library IO error implement display. No, implement debug but not display. So this time here we need to use the colon question mark, because using the colon question mark, the println macro is going to be able to use the debug implementation, which knows how to print it, because it has the display implemented. Cargo run. Okay, now we got the content of the file, which is an OK returned by the result. Paper and pen in front of GR station. So we're still in Shibuya, in front of the GR station. So here I just fast forward this because I did a lot of Ctrl+C's here. Okay. So now what I'm doing, I'm just going to change the file name. So it won't be able to find it. You see? Now we created an error. Code 2, kind not found, message, no such file, or directory. So here the error has been returned. So that was the first way, using the question mark, which has propagated the error while evaluating OK secret story. We are going to comment it out and open the second way using match. All the code is ready. We just need to comment out some parts and comment some other ones. So another secret, which is using the match method that you're more familiar with, as we have used it before. Let's comment this out and isolate the secret file 2. Here we comment this out, and we have our secret file number 2. Second secret. Here we just change the names with 2. We might change the method because we want to try another method now. 2. And this won't change. The rest is the same. Question mark here. We get rid of it. We put another secret, which is the second one using the match method. So we're going to follow the same process. We're going to try to reach the OK side of the error. And after we're going to try to simulate an error. So the echo here, the message, crossing Shibuya busy place, maybe. To go have a coffee. This is fine. And we put it in files, a second secret. And we're going to call our cargo and see if it ships. We got some errors. What happened? Everything was perfect. No, I put OK. It's capital letters. So here we can see the compiler is telling us similarly named tuple variant OK, which is here, and I'm going to change it. Let's run the cargo. We got our OK message, crossing Shibuya busy place to go have a coffee. So we got the content of the file. Let's now change the name of the file. Here, let's call it second secret without any underscore. And let's reach it here. It's the second secret. Good. Let's call cargo. And we got the error. That's what we wanted to see. Same kind of error that we had before. It's just to show that we can use different ways. So you will see the same messages because we're triggering the same kind of error. So the file doesn't exist. So it couldn't find it. We're going to do the same process here, comment in and out until we isolate the third way, which is the one using unwrap. Unwrap, not to use in production, just while you're coding. I haven't used it since the beginning because I don't want you to have the habit of using unwrap. And myself also, I don't want to have this habit. But I know it exists and I can use it when I feel lazy. Okay, so here we have the secret file 3. We have isolated it. The dev secret.txt. We're going to change here the names. Same here for the method. Is the dev error, which is using the unwrap method. And we are going to add a sentence. Maybe before calling cargo, we're going to echo the secret of the dev. That's the secret of all devs. Echo. I will crash production before going on holidays. Best holidays ever. And after you're going to be adding it to the div secret file. Let's call cargo. There's an error. Yes, this one was intentional. Dev mistakes. Check. It wasn't. I'm joking. It wasn't intentional. You see here is check and this is kick. So let's go back in the error file and fix this. So I did an intentional error, but inside that intentional error there were an unintentional one. So I have fixed it, but that's the intentional one. So you need to put it to wrap it in the OK. Let's go back and we're going to wrap it in the OK because it's returning a result. So can't just return it like that. The unwrap is just to panic when there's an error. But here when we're evaluating OK, if it is OK, we're returning the result like that, otherwise we get an error. And now we got our message. It's all OK. That's good. So that helps you and helps me also to focus on not forgetting those little details. And now we are going to change the file name. That's the quickest way to create an error. Dev secret. And here, the dev secret. We're going to call cargo. Expect to get the same error. Yes. It's not the same because here you see the unwrap is going to panic the main panicked called, so this is crashing the app, result on wrap on an error, and here you can see the error that we have seen in the other different ways. The same error coming back, but this error is going to trigger a panic. So unwrapping, unwrap will panic. Panic. Okay, that's good. So we've been focusing here into those three. You can see here panic, result, everything is written in the terminal. So we've been focusing in those three methods of handling errors. Some are more for developers, some can be used in production for user-facing applications, and some other ones you can use it just for your logs. So when it's the logs, it's fine to use the ones implementing the debug method. After we can implement here, I'm just printing. You see here, I printed error secret not accessible on the file. It's just to show you that you can print also the struct, because we have implemented a display as we've done in the previous video. And the display is going to be, where is it? It's here, you see, implement display, error secret not accessible. And you need just to use the curly braces for that. Alright, so we don't need to talk more about that. Everything should be clear. You can go back and see the different points of the video. See you in the next video. Please like and subscribe, and see you next time.